I'm Debbie Godfrey. Welcome to the Positive Parenting Pep Talks podcast.
So today I'm going to talk about the last type of temper tantrum that we've distinguished, and that's the temper tantrum that is rooted in a child feeling frustrated. They're feeling overwhelmed with some task that they have at hand. So the first thing that you want to do if they're pitching a fit about being overwhelmed about something is look and see if your expectations are too high. So are my expectations too high of my child? And I find that this is pretty common among parents of young kids. Often we really expect them to be able to accomplish more than they can. Well, now the reverse of this is also true. I mean, there's times where we don't give them enough credit, but in this case, I'm talking about those times where we might expect them to be able to just keep their rooms magically clean. And really, a 2, 3, 4, 5-year-old may not be able to handle that. That might be too high of an expectation. Having them sit in a nice restaurant and be quiet for, a certain period of time, young kids it's just too high of an expectation for them to be able to sit there. Each of you should get a sense of what your child's ability is there, but chances are kids under 5, I mean, if they can sit 30 minutes quietly, I'd be surprised. So, expecting an hour or more of quiet sitting is just not going to happen. And so they'll be getting frustrated and they might pitch a fit. And so checking, are my expectations too high? And if they are, alter the situation so that you're not setting your child up to fail. The other thing is, if they're frustrated about something and that's what's causing them to tantrum, look at what it is and see if there's a way to break it down into more achievable steps. So how could you break this situation down? Maybe they're tantruming and it's because of homework and they're frustrated because it's too overwhelming and they feel like they can't do it all. It's too much. So sit down with your child and help them figure out a way that they can break it up into smaller steps. So maybe what it means isn't breaking up, the homework per se, but maybe it's getting a timer and having the child, why don't you sit down and focus on your homework for 10 minutes and then play for 10 minutes and let them set the timer and keep track of the time and all that, and keep an eye on them if they need help with that. But it's actually more empowering if they do the timer themselves. And also make sure your child knows how to follow the directions. So often, especially in regards to homework, I've found that kids are reading way more into it than the teacher intends. And sometimes when they're getting frustrated with their homework, it's because they're making it harder than it needs to be. And it's so funny because I taught a workshop on dealing with homework one time, and all the parents there had these kids with like 5 hours of homework a night, and they were so frustrated. And after we started going through each one and talking to them, and then I had a couple people who actually went later and talked to the teachers, and it turned out, I think without an exception, all of those parents of all of those kids had kids that were misinterpreting the directions to their schoolwork and what the teachers expected. Most teachers don't expect a certain amount of homework, like it should be 15 minutes or it should be 30 minutes, depending on, if they're in junior high, definitely each teacher doesn't give the kids more than like a half an hour homework because they know the kids get that much from each class. In the younger school years, it's dependent on their age and what kind of project the teacher's providing, but they really don't ever intend to give a child 5 hours of homework a night. And if they knew that was happening, they would do something. And that's what we found out here, that the kids were making these tasks way more difficult than they needed to be. So make sure your child's following the directions and you can help alleviate some of the frustration tantrums. So I hope these few days have helped with dealing with the pitching the fits and the fights and the out of control behavior, and that you have some ideas now and trying these different ideas out. And if they don't work, try another one, because maybe you're not sure if it's a frustration tantrum or a feeling powerless tantrum or a hypersensitivity tantrum. And so at least you've got some ideas of what to do when they're tantruming instead of getting down in the mire with it. So enjoy those tantrums. You have a role to play in helping them figure out how to manage their own behavior and how to get control of themselves when they're feeling out of control. Have a great day. Happy parenting.
Thank you so much for joining me here at the Positive Parenting Pep Talks podcast. I assume you're here because you're getting something out of these daily pep talks. And wouldn't it be great if more parents could hear more about these ideas for their children? And you can help me in a great way by liking the episodes by sharing them on your social media, and especially by providing a review on your platform of choice. So if you could do me a huge favor and do that, it would really help get this out to many, many, many more parents. And we can all help our children feel more seen, heard, and understood, which is my life's work, is to make sure that all children feel loved and appreciated and that we can discipline them without breaking their spirit. So I hope that you've enjoyed these podcasts and will continue to enjoy them. And I really appreciate any support you can give me here at Positive Parenting Pep Talks. Thank you so much. Have a great day and happy parenting.